Walter A. Williams Jr. in his quest for historical title number 41. That won't happen today, but Randy gets to know more about the PBA's behemoth in this week's Miller six-pack.
Walter A., to you, what is the sweetest sound in the world?
I like a couple of really good sounds. One's when you throw a strike where old 10 pins go in the pit. I mean, it's like a solid flush strike. I really like that sound. And I also like the sound of a good horseshoe hitting the stake perfect.
What's the smartest thing you've ever done?
I think going to college and getting a degree. Got a degree in physics.
When you were growing up, who did you want to be someday?
When I was younger, I was a good horseshoe player, actually a junior world champion. And I remember when I was 11, 12 years old, I wanted to be a professional horseshoe pitcher.
What goes through you when you hear people cheering for you, when they really get behind you and start screaming and yelling?
When we're in an arena and you got thousands of people cheering for you, it gives you goosebumps. And it really, it makes me feel good to know that people appreciate what I'm doing. It really does.
When you're not bowling, what is the one thing you have to do but hate the most?
Cleaning up my room. I'm a slob.
Do you remember your worst road trip ever?
Well, my wife's not the best traveler, so sometimes traveling across the country with her is not the most pleasant experience. But one time we were traveling to a tournament. This is actually before we had an RV, and she was driving, and I was in the back sleeping, and she stopped at a kind of like a rest area, and she got out to go to the restroom. I got out and went to the restroom. I came back, and she was gone. And she drove 100 miles, stopped, went to the restroom, and then got out and got back in and drove another 20 miles, got off the turnpike. I finally got a hold of the turnpike officials and said she's going to get off at this exit 12 to go to Baltimore. When she got there to pay the fine or to pay the toll, the guy says, "Your name Paige? Are you missing something?" She goes, "No." "Are you missing someone?" She goes, "Walter A." And I'm not back there. She figured that I was going to send her home on a bus or something, but for some reason I stuck around with her.
This week's Miller High Life six-pack on the road. Orange County Classic presented by Storm. They're the Pro-Am site, Southern California, Fountain Bowl, Brunswick Orange Bowl, and Saddleback Lanes as well. Log on to PBA.com for a chance to get involved in those Pro-Ams. And the second half of our season begins in suburban Phoenix, Mesa, Arizona. We're going out to the desert. There are 3 Pro-Am sites available Saturday, January 8th. Mike Wolfe has his first career TV win already. 1 legend down, 1 to go. It's Norm Duke, the finalist, next. 41, but history should be made by one of these two, Norm Duke or Mike Wolfe. Randy, let's get going with the Geico Direct Championship recap.
You got it, Dave. Earlier in match number 1, it was Norm Duke defeating Brad Angelo by the score of 246 to 211. Norm strung 5 strikes to take control of the match. Then in match number 2 was Mike Wolfe defeating Walter A. Williams Jr. by the score of 256 to 206. Walter A's chance at history will have to wait, setting up a great championship match between Wolfe and Duke for this Earl Anthony Medford Classic title.
And ready, the finalists are ready. Norm Duke, we talked about bowling at this level and on TV being a chess match. Do you feel like you've mastered this TV pair today?
No, I never. Chess is tough. I don't think anybody ever masters it. It just depends on what your opponent does, and it's the same in bowling, and right now.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Mike Wolfe, bid for your first ever title. 1 legend is down. Walter A. Williams Jr., Norm Duke, another PBA great is next. How do you possibly maintain composure?
Well, he's not quite as tall as Walter, but he's still one of the giants too. But it's one shot at a time.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
These guys are ready for the final.
Keys to victory for Mike Wolfe, simple. Believe in the changes that he's made and don't get too fast. The only bad shots he threw in his match against Walter A., he got fast. Duke has to stay focused, and because he sat a match, he has to make the right adjustments on the lanes.
First ever TV matchup. And a split. Oh my goodness, what a start for Norm Duke in the final here for 10.
In Norm Duke's fill shot against Brad Angelo, he moved into the center part of the lane and tried to hook it, and that's how he is going to attempt to play or to attempt to bowl this match. I think Mike Wolfe's still going to be going straight. Not really sure I understand Norm's strategy early on.
Almost had it. We've seen some splits made today. Earlier in our TV show, Brad Angelo pulling off 2 beauties. But he leaves the 10-pin in early open frame.
Thought he made it. Last thing you want to do is give a non-winner breathing room in a title match. It's like Mike Wolfe, somebody just took a 1-ton weight off his chest.
And he does strike there. And Mike Wolfe, who, as we saw a moment ago, was pretty relaxed with the hype comment about Norm Duke and Walter Ray, leading us to the Baby Ruth real deal matchup.
7 pins a game, higher average for Norm Duke, and he's going to need all of that to beat Mike Wolfe. Mike Wolfe, his best finish this year, 11th, but right now looking to win for the first time ever in his career. And it's amazing. He's playing the lane straight. Norm Duke, who likes to play the lane straight, is trying to hook it.
Great look from our crew, lane level. On the approach for Mike Wolfe. Our crew led by director Scott Katz. Happy birthday to Katzy. This past week turned 30.
And also happy birthday to my wife, Becky. I know you're watching. Happy birthday.
She's 21.
She just turned 25. Again.
It's amazing how that number keeps coming up. Mike Wolfe with his family watching back home in suburban Louisville. Mom and Dad, Jerry and Susan, sisters Suzanne and Leslie, his nephews Owen and Zane, and his little niece Emery, all back home on the Indiana side, are watching Mike Wolfe today and rooting him on for a first ever title. Well, as the old adage goes, you're going to have an open frame. You want the open to be early. First frame for Norm, got a rebound. 7 pin.
Pretty good shot there that doesn't strike. You can see Norm Duke has now changed his starting position. He's holding the ball low down by his knees to cut down his ball speed and also to give him an opportunity to get some hand in it, meaning create some revolutions to get that ball to hook. Big change, a risky move in my opinion.
Single pin numbers are perfect. One barely stays on the right side of the foul line there. A little footwork issue. But he does take care of his mark. Non-exempt qualifiers. Tom Doherty's been pretty hot.
Tom Doherty's made 4 in a row, and he's led the last 2.
Sean Copeland, the top amateur, and the exemption from our commissioner, Fred Schreier, who's in the house today. It was the Marshall Holman, the Medford Meteors. We talked to them on the air live a few moments ago. Took on PDW.
We actually had an extra spot this week and also next week because Jason Queen is taking a couple of weeks off.
Good to see you back in action again, 2 weeks in a row, but Chris Barnes this week, right?
Chris Barnes, yeah. I had one big game against Chris. It took all of the 280 to win one game.
Help on the 5-pin late from Norm Duke. He'll take that late hit any day.
Norm Duke, about 17 at the arrows there. He was at about 7. A good 10 boards left where he bowled his match against Brad Angelo. That's a big move. 10 boards with his target, probably some 18 boards with his feet.
Wolfe looks with his 11-pin lead, working on the spare and lookout right through the nose. Is that ever high? And the 4-7-10 up.
Okay, so maybe Norm knows what he's doing, and that's why he's down there and I'm up here, because all of a sudden now it looks like there's not a whole lot of hold left where Mike Wolfe is playing. And that's the reason why the guys go straight, is because they can miss a little bit to the left and the ball holds its line.
Looking for help to the 10-pin, will not get it. So now things really tighten up. Only a 3-pin difference between the two. Our Dexter Tournament of Champions, which will come up this year at the end of our tour season, different than in years past when it wrapped up the first half. Randy, unfortunately, your name is getting up there, but Double D, Dave DiAntremano, won in Wichita on 0-2 to begin that tour schedule. He is at number 32 now.
And congrats to Richie Allen, who bowled his way to the TFC by winning the Regional Players Invitational.
Mike Wolfe, Norm Duke in the finals. The PBA Earl Anthony Medford Classic rolls on. We decide a winner next. Commissioner, respectively, here to check out the great action from Medford. Let's look in with this week's Earl Tire Rock and Roll.
And the Earl this week is a lesson in spare shooting. Check out this funky Cole Medina leave that Brad Angelo makes in his match against Norm Duke. And then he follows it up by sliding the floor over and making a 4-7-10. Outstanding.
Randy, I never personally thought after making those two spares that Brad Angelo had a chance to lose that match. I mean, so much momentum in his favor. You saw the fist pumping and the Earl Tire Rock and Roll. Those two great pickups on splits, yet he fell in that semifinal to Norm Duke 246-211. Folks, it's tight here. Two opens by each, respectively, have made this a great match. And a big strike for Norm Duke.
I got a quick sidebar to tell you. When Norm Duke was bowling match play, he had the front 10. He was getting ready to shoot 300. He was bowling against Brian Himmler, and through the first one in the 10th, the second ball, he moves to the extreme outside part of the lane just to find another area on the lane to play. Misses the head pin, shoots 286. In his match against Brad Angelo, his fill shot, his last ball, he moved into where he is now. Guess what? He's found a home.
Looking for Turkey. Oh, that was dangerously off the mark, and a two-pin.
Entire life
Big,
right there.
big break. Didn't leave the 8 and the 10 with that two-pin. You hear Norm got it off his hand weak. The ball never returned.
Spared him.
One of the things that we worked on 2 weeks ago, Dave Ryan, was that he had to wait for the ball at the top of the swing. He has to let it fall that 6 to 8 inches in order for him to catch it at the bottom.
Takes care of the two-pin and gets his mark, but things stay very close here in the final in Medford, as he did not strike for a third straight time.
Both bowlers' balls starting from different spots on the lane, but notice right there they get to the same break point down the lane.
Boy, is that an awesome look from our crew in the slow motion. You can see that break point and the transition. Hitting the end of this very long oil pattern, the longest we have on tour. The shot pattern, known as pattern B there, Crocodile Randy.
You said it, Dave.
Orange County Classic next week, presented by Storm, Southern California. And Fountain Valley, what a great bowling center that is, which in the past has hosted U.S. Open events. It was the case last year leading up to the final in the Convention Center. And Anaheim, very close to Disneyland. This year, a regular tour stop. Can't wait to get back to SoCal. 1 o'clock Eastern next weekend. Mike Wolfe. Yeah! Big strike.
Sure was. He just took an 8-pin lead with that strike, did he not? Our statistician, Tony Reyes, thank you, sir. Duke trailing by 8, working on a spare. Needs to get back on track. Both players with an open early. Look out.
Oh, way high at the last second as it hits the end of the oil pattern, folks. It really skipped the beat for him and missed the pocket.
Again, you know, we've talked about it before, overcompensation, the shot on the left lane. He misses a little bit at the bottom of the swing. This one, he just gets too much of it. That ball oversensitive when it got to that break point, cuts right through the nose. Norm Duke, big trouble.
4-6-10. Trying to kick it across and look out, leaves 2. 4 and 6, folks, both up for Norm Duke. And that will be very detrimental. Looking for a 22nd career title, a second open frame. And the deficit balloons to 23 pins. Wolfe working on 3 straight strikes coming up in his 7th frame next. Mike has got to be thinking, wow, I've been handed a gift here. Now I've got to finish.
Well, what he needs to be thinking is just continue to do what he's doing. Don't think about anything else.
Hey, Kerry Norm Duke gets him out. Mike Wolfe told us last night when he was growing up, Amleto Monticelli was his big hero. He said, sure, I watched Norm Duke play, and he was one of the idols, certainly. But in terms of Walter Ray Williams Jr., he said, and Walter Ray was always so steady not really a spectacular, charismatic athlete. So I didn't really tune in to watch him every week. And Leto was my guy. Well, he's on the verge, folks, of beating not only Walter Ray, but Norm Duke, too. That's very high, and he'll just take gladly the 6-pin up.
Yeah, and that could have been worse. Again, getting back to what's going on in Mike Wolfe's head right now should be nothing. All he should be thinking about is making good shots. He gets the gift from Norm Duke. All of a sudden, the blood pressure, the adrenaline rush, and he overthrows it. And barely made that.
Takes care of the 6-pin. He did beat Monticelli, by the way, in the round of 8 here. So a couple of legends have gone down. Be sure to log on, PBA.com, your official holiday shopping headquarters. All the latest PBA merchandise and apparel, including T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, player magnets, and much more. Now available at the PBA's online store. Shop for the entire family at PBA.com. Bookmark it today. Pro-Am tickets available next 2 weeks. LA, and then after the holidays, Mesa, Arizona. Great view from up high. The pass to the pocket for Mike Wolfe, who really can steamroll that ball down the lane.
Norm Duke, strike working in the 7th frame. He can strike out to shoot 223. Mike Wolfe can strike out to shoot 235. But in my opinion, if Norm Duke does not strike on this ball, he can't win.
Let's see what happens.
And just to reiterate what I was saying, you saw the reaction from Norm Duke when he struck here. Watch this. He knows he has to strike on this ball.
This plays out, Randy. We're developing a theme here for our season. The year of the dark horse, Rick Lawrence, who had only won 1 tour titles. We see our lane comparison. Upsetting Walter Ray Williams Jr., stopping his bid for number 41. Now Mike Wolfe a chance for his first title. Jason Hurd has won his first title this year. New winners, the new format, Zep Tour. It's been interesting. Oh, and a big one. Oh, 2-pin lead. Yes. Turkey ball.
Watch this. High flush. The only thing that was going to stand up was the 7-pin. That goes late. He's waving it off. Come on, ball carry. Gives a little look at Mike Wolfe now. Mike Wolfe strike in the 9th and 10th and 9. He'll shut out Norm Duke.
The 12-pin lead needs it. Oh, 7-pin.
How can you go high and then never hook? Are you kidding me?
And things get very interesting. Tightening up.
No matter what Mike Wolfe does from here on out, spare here, we'll give him that. 3 strikes in the 10th frame. He cannot shut out Norm Duke.
Takes down the 7-pin. Great moments, great champions. We talked about that with Walter Ray Williams Jr. Now Norm Duke a chance to prove his worth tonight. Also available on ESPN HD. You can see it Sunday Night Football, 8:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 here on the West Coast. Eagles and Redskins. Don McNabb, Terrell Owens, and the high-flying Eagles, the best record in the NFC. Looking to derail Joe Gibbs and their longtime NFC East rival, the Washington Redskins. Pressure-packed 10th frame. Mike Wolfe. Shreds the rack. Bringing some heat.
One more strike and decent count. Mike Wolfe will force Norm Duke to throw 2 strikes in the 10th frame to win this tournament.
Mike Wolfe had never won a TV match before today. Are you kidding? Talk about pressure. Yeah! He delivers.
I can learn this one.
Watch his eyes.
Yeah!
Look at Norm. Norm knows now exactly what he needs to do. Great champions, like we said in the open, rise to the occasion. Norm Duke's a great champion.
10-pin finish shot for Mike Wolfe. Norm needs 2 strikes and a very light count to win this tournament. Wolfe is done with a 214. 2 strikes and 2. Gotta have the first 2 strikes. Wolfe wins his first title. He's got to have it. Mike Wolfe is a PBA Tour champion for the first time in his career. Can you believe it? A 10-pin does it. Norm Duke, and Wolfe takes the championship in Medford, Oregon.
Congratulations, man. It was only a matter of time for you.
What a fantastic finish today. Such appreciation for the great champion Norm Duke, and now Mike Wolfe can call himself a PBA champion as well, Randy.
Norm just misses this, just a pitch. It comes in late. It's a week 10, and Mike Wolfe wins his first tournament ever.
Folks, take a close listen. Across the country, you can hear a big party going on in Indiana right now. Celebration time. Proudly, boldly, manly, this is the highlight. By Baby Ruth, the official candy bar of the PBA. Baby Ruth from Nestle, the real deal. And by Bear, the more you know, the more you trust Bear. The man of the moment from New Albany, Indiana, near Louisville, Kentucky, is Mike Wolfe. His first ever career PBA title comes today. Mike, what was going through your mind when Norm Duke, you knew he had the double there and just a 2-pin count? He had 1 strike, and then the 10-pin was left up by Norm. What were you thinking?
There was no question going through my mind he was going to get it. I mean, he's one of the best at always stepping up and throwing the key double. I was very fortunate. I couldn't throw any better shots under the pressure.
You faced pressure before, the tour trials, and now you come all this way. Monticelli goes down, one of the legends. Walter Ray Williams Jr. goes down. The bid for history today. Could this have been a better scene for you?
It could have been a little easier, maybe. I mean, not having to step up every single match, and maybe you catch an easy one in there, but there was never any easy ones. Even Ryan Schaefer, down 0-3 to him, was just absolutely a dream to be in the situation to come back on that match.
I'm sure, Mike, growing up in Indiana, you've dreamed about this moment. Now you're here. Does it match what you thought it would be?
It's even better. It's watching Earl those many years that he was out, and it's even more special to win a tournament after his name, and my first show being the Earl Anthony when it was in Tacoma. So it can't be any more special.
Is this going to change your life, do you think?
Not in the next 5 hours or so, but as soon as I get a second to relax and think about it a little bit, definitely.
Congratulations. Mike Wolfe, everybody, with a win today. Randy?
A magnificent day for Mike Wolfe, from tour trials to PBA championship.
Goes to Mike Wolfe today with the win. With Randy Peterson, our entire crew, is Dave Ryan saying so long from Medford, Oregon. Be sure to join us again next Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, here on ESPN for the PBA Orange County Classic, presented by Storm from Fountain Bowl in Fountain Valley, California. It's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. What a moment, what a time for Mike Wolfe from New Albany, Indiana. He's a PBA champion today.
The following